Boxing truth here. Let me bang out this video real quick. It's going to be about Vasyl Lomachenko versus Jezreel Corrales, as that is the fight that appears is going to be going down for a date on April 8th. The venue is still to be determined. But Lomachenko versus Corrales is a better fight than a weak-ass Gamboa fight. It's a more significant fight compared to a Gamboa fight because of unification in the super featherweight division. The winner of this fight will get more recognition, and of course Lomachenko will be a heavy favorite heading into this fight. If it goes down, and it appears it will go down, that is the preferred opponent for Lomachenko and his team, as they want to collect belts. They want to unifications. They want to leave a mark in the boxing world, leave a legacy. Not only is Lomachenko versus Corrales a better fight than a weak-ass Gamboa fight, it's actually a more challenging fight. That is the issue here when it comes to Lomachenko. Lomachenko is such a special fighter that he needs the most toughest challenges out there to get some competition. It's not going to be much drama to see Lomachenko fight the Nicholas Walters, Yuriorkis Gamboas of the world. Just going to see mostly one-sided schooling sessions. But at the end of the day, we want to see competition. And Jezreel Corrales, he may not beat Lomachenko, but he definitely provides a better challenge. He's a much more difficult style to deal with, and it's going to be interesting to see how Lomachenko deals with this type of style on Jezreel Corrales. I've watched Corrales fight. I watched his last two recent performances against the long-reigning champion Uchiyama. He upsetted him last year. Stopped him within 2 rounds. Huge upset. Picked up his Super WBA strap. Beat the long-reigning champion in that division. And then he did it again, this time by decision. And I watched the second fight, and Jezreel Corrales showed why he is definitely a pretty good fighter. He showed why he beat Uchiyama the first time. It wasn't a fluke. He beat him decisively in the rematch. It was definitely a boxing lesson Corrales gave to Uchiyama. The reason why Uchiyama couldn't beat Corrales was because he couldn't match his foot speed, couldn't match Corrales's. He couldn't match his rhythm. He couldn't deal with his rhythm, his speed, his footwork, his awkwardness. He's a southpaw, but he can also switch hit. And he's a difficult style to deal with, especially for a basic fighter like Uchiyama, who he just couldn't keep up with his foot speed, couldn't really land any shots. He couldn't touch Corrales throughout that whole fight in the rematch. I mean, he was constantly getting tagged, getting popped, and he would just hit nothing but air. So Corrales is not an easy fight by no means in terms of style. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He can move around the ring. He's got some power, as he showcased in the first fight against Uchiyama. The only flaw is he's a little wild. He can be a little wild with his shots, and he's very susceptible to counters, but it takes a skilled fighter to exploit that. And of course, Lomachenko is probably the most skilled fighter in the world today. But it's an interesting clash of styles. Corrales will show more dimensions to his game compared to a Walters. He's not a one-dimensional fighter. He's a good boxer. He's got speed. He's got foot speed. He's got low power, and he'll get in there and fight at times. He won't just be always on the move or just trying to outbox his opponent. It's going to be an interesting clash of styles, and this is a fight that Lomachenko needs. He needs the toughest challenges out there. He can't just fight these basic one-dimensional guys. He eats those guys for breakfast. He needs to fight guys with more dimensions to their game, guys with better IQs, guys that are smart in the ring, guys that can at least give him some competition. I'm not saying Corrales will beat Lomachenko, but he'll provide some problems. He'll provide a puzzle that Lomachenko will have to solve. And I'm all for this fight. It's a significant fight. It's a real fight. It's a unification fight. And Corrales is coming off momentum, confidence, coming off 2 big wins. Showed the first fight at Uchiyama was no fluke. And he's one of the best 130 pounders in the world. And he's coming in with a lot of momentum, much more than Gamboa is, who hasn't fought in over a year, who's chinny, hasn't done shit in a number of years. So this is a more competitive fight on paper. It's a more difficult style presented to Lomachenko. And he'll get a lot more recognition and props if he was to somehow solve the puzzle of Corrales quickly and perhaps get another emphatic win, another impressive win, as Lomachenko appears to be getting better and better. It's going to be up to Top Rank and Bob Arum to show Corrales the money. Corrales has already been on record that he's willing to fight Lomachenko. He wants to unify the titles. But of course, maybe a good deal of money would have to be presented for Corrales to take the fight. But it looks like that's the fight that's going to go down. That's the preferred opponent for Lomachenko. And I knew Lomachenko wouldn't disappoint me. No reason to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa. He'll get absolutely no props for that. Cherry picking is beneath him. Only the unifications, the big fights. He's a finished product, man. He's not. You don't have to protect Lomachenko. He's a finished product. You can put him in there with any threat in the world between 130 and 135 pounds. I don't see anybody beating Vasyl Lomachenko at those weights. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.